I'm Claire, and I just want to jump on and do a little video about the journal that I've just released, just to tell you who I am, what qualified me for writing it, why I wrote it, what's been going on, all that kind of stuff really, just so that you could get to know me a little bit better, and hopefully I can get to know you a little bit better as well. So as I said, my name is Claire. I am a mum of two, but for the last 10 years my son has really suffered with his mental health. He's been quite poorly, and the diagnosis he has at the moment is psychosis. And he's also on the he's been through an autism assessment, so he's going in for the big assessment. We have to wait 3.5 years before he's even going to be able to have that assessment to see if he has autism as well. And we're just about to start the ADHD process as well to see if he has that as well, because the more we know is going on, the better we can help him, right? And the road's not been a very easy road for us. When people suffer with mental health, the first thing that gets eroded is their sense of trust. They really struggle with trusting anybody, even themselves, especially in Travis's case with the psychosis, because he doesn't even trust that what he sees and hears is real. Because he sees things and he hears noises and chatting and stuff. It's, it seems very real to him. So it's very hard for that trust to be there. And if you can't trust anybody, how do you know anybody has your best interests at heart, right? So over the years, we have learned many, many things. He's actually getting a lot of help at the moment. He's under the at-risk mental services team, or ARMS for short, who are absolutely amazing. The only qualm I have with them is that I think that help comes too late. I think if people had that help earlier, we could probably prevent people from being as poorly as Travis has been. But he's doing okay. We are working together to work through his road to recovery. And I'm sure that whilst he may never be better, he will get to a stage where he's able to live on his own and live a what we would class as a normal, happy life, with work and relationships and all that kind of stuff. So, things are progressing. It's not all dead ends, it's all good. We are working through things. And what I wanted to do was, through this journey as a non-professional carer, I noticed there's not really a lot of help for us. There's not really anywhere that we can go to ask questions, and to be supported, right? And we are there 24/7. It's like ridiculous, and we don't get any pay for it. We have to, or if we do, it's minuscule. And we're just expected to step into this role and to just take up all this responsibility over and above what we did before. And it's not just for people with mental health. I'm talking about people who have loved ones who suffer with dementia. I'm talking about people who have loved ones who have a disability or have had strokes, or anything at all that causes people to not be able to function on their own, where they need assistance from us. And we're just expected to step into that without any help for us whatsoever. And because I want to be part of the solution, that's why I've started putting all this kind of stuff together. So I want to try to find ways of helping us non-professional carers to come together, to be our own source of support, and to have a little bit of kindness, and that kind of stuff. And it's quite It's quite tricky, right? All of us have learned different things throughout our journey. And at the moment, that information's siloed. And I don't want that to be the case, because something that you do may help me, and something that I do might help you. So I'm trying to gather together information. I'm trying to bring together different tools and just different things that will help us, help our people to be comfortable, to have autonomy in their own life, to feel like they're valuable and valid and not a burden. Because I know a lot of them do feel like that, and I don't want that. I don't want that for anybody. I don't want us to feel like we are a problem, and I don't want them to feel like they're a problem either. So that's why I wrote the journal. So the journal took me a little while to put together. In there, you'll find lots of different things. You'll find how to create a plan with your person when they are in a good place, to prepare for when they're not. So this could be things like what sort of things soothe them. So if you have, like with mental health, for example, there are certain things that Travis can do that helps to reduce his stress and make him feel calmer and make him feel better. And most of the time that is taking himself away into his room, putting on his PlayStation or his computer for a little while, and just, he's got like this, he's telling me about a game that he has that's got like a pressure washer, and he'll sit and he'll play this pressure washer game. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just a cleaning game, I guess. But for him, it really helps him to calm, right? So knowing that's a really good thing. And it could be, what foods bring them comfort? Do they need, when they're really poorly, how much interaction do they want? Because sometimes Travis will not want to speak to me at all, and I can't take that personally, because it's not about me, it's about him, about what he needs to get through this downward spiral that he may be on at the time, so that we can make sure that he's okay. So we have a plan of what we can do to help him when he's feeling low. Then there are other things that we can do to help. So one of the things that Travis really suffers with is he can't process questions in that like we can. So it'll be things like, if I say to him, what do you want for dinner? His immediate reaction is, I don't know. And he starts getting like a panic, because he's thinking, well, I should know. I don't even know if I'm hungry, let alone what I want to eat. I don't know what to do. And then he starts getting really agitated. So we sat together and I said to him, look, I notice that I am making you upset when I'm asking you these questions. What do we do? How can we change that? And we spoke to his arms team as well, and we asked them for some ideas about how we could manage that situation, and they were brilliant, and they come up with a thermometer scale, which is in the journal, so you'll be able to see how that works. But the way that works for Travis is a flow chart. So rather than saying to him, what do you want to eat, and him having to run diagnostics, what do I want, we've taken that away. We have removed that anxiety. So now I say, are you hungry? So he can say either yes or no. Okay, so if he says yes, okay. Are you ready for dinner? And he'll say yes or no. And if he says yes, I'll go, okay. Do you want spaghetti bolognese? Do you want curry? Do you want tacos? Do you want cheesy pasta? Do you want a breakfast dinner? We go through all the different things, and then rather than him, like I say, having to run this through his system and try and figure out what it is that he wants, he can sit and go, do I want that? No, I don't. Or yes, I do. So it takes that whole anxiety level away. And if he's not hungry, I say, are you thirsty? And he'll either say yes or no. And if he says yes, I say, right, okay, when was the last time you had a glass of water? And then he'll say, oh, I haven't had one since this morning. I'll say, right, let's go and get a glass of water first, and then we'll work out where we go from there. And so we work together, like working out the questions that I need to ask to help him process. Okay. And that really helps him. And, the very first thing that I ask him is, do you want to talk to me? Because sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he doesn't want to talk to me. And that is okay. He's perfectly allowed to go off on his own and do his own thing and just enjoy that time. He's more than welcome to do that, and I've learned that that's a really, really important thing that he needs to do. So the other things that we do is when he is feeling poorly, we'll do things like we'll sit together and I'll say to him, do you need to be alone? And he'll either say yes or no. And once we've been through that flow chart, if he can't, we'll get to the end and he can't decide what it is that he's feeling, what it is that he wants, because sometimes he doesn't know. Sometimes he can't find that information within him. Then I switch tack. So I will go in with the distraction. Distraction works brilliantly. It's a really underutilized tool for most people, I think. And so what I do is I'll say to him things like, so Travis and I love cosplay, and we'll go to different cosplay events. And at the moment, he's waiting for a new outfit to come from America. And so I'll go in with the distraction. I'll go, well, have you heard from them about your stuff yet? And he'll go, oh yeah, it's being processed and they're doing this, that and the other. And I go, okay, right, what are we going to do about painting it? And then I'll get him to explain to me, even though I know, I'll get him to explain to me what we're going to do about painting the relevant items that need to be painted. And we'll talk about the different glues that we're going to use, what he's going to do in the meantime while he's waiting for that to come along. Or we'll talk about motorbikes because he loves a motorbike. And like, what are we going to do about your driving test? It's distraction, right? So when he's in that place where he doesn't know what it is that he wants, the distraction allows his mind to calm because it's a familiar, safe place for him to talk about something. It's not anxiety inducing. It's not, it doesn't upset him in any way, shape or form. We are able to then distract him enough, and I can feel his energy then change, and he relaxes and he calms, and then that helps him. The book also talks about signs that you can look out for. So it's called tics. They could be tics. They could be triggers. There's all different sorts of things that you can look out for. So I know with Travis, when he's on a downward spiral, I know that he tics. He tics a lot. And so I watch those, because when he's in a place where he's suffering, and maybe he doesn't even realise it himself, but his tics get worse. So I know if I can see his tics getting worse, something's going on. So I need to be vigilant. It'll be also things like, at the moment, his body's rejecting food, which is, I don't even know what that is. This is quite a new thing for us. So we are monitoring that. What foods is it? When is it happening? How is he feeling when that's happening? Just so we can try and find a pattern in what's going on. And the journal allows me to monitor all of those symptoms and what's going on. And I can also look and see what other tics and tells and triggers that he has. So I know that if he gets a letter from the tax office or something like that, asking for money, or that kind of thing, or a bill he's not expecting, I know that's going to cause him a problem. It won't be the day that it comes in. It'll probably be usually about 2 or 3 days afterwards. I notice his tells and his tics start to get really bad. So I can prepare for that because I know that's coming. So I'm prepared. So I know. and then I can put things in place to keep everything calm. My house is always calm. I try and keep it as calm and as quiet as I possibly can, so that it's always safe for anybody that comes to my house, not just for me and Travis, but for anybody. Um, we also talk about in the book about a hospitalisation plan. So hopefully we will never get to the stage where Travis ends up in hospital. But if he does have to be sectioned at some point for his own safety or for the safety of others, we will have a plan of everything that I need to think about for when he goes into hospital. So there's a checklist in there for things that we need to pack. There's all sorts of stuff, thinking about power of attorney, if that's relevant, because for some of us that's relevant, for some it's not. What bills need to be paid while they're in hospital, who needs to be notified, what benefits do I need to think about and contact people about, and that kind of stuff. So it's just a way of us being prepared, and the hope for that is that if that ever happens, because we have that plan in place, it's not going to be so panic inducing. One of the other things that I encourage to do in the hospitalisation plan is to talk to people that have been in hospital, talk to the doctors, talk to nurses, talk to, psychologists or clinical people that are, that have the information on this sort of thing. What does it look like when they go into hospital? Take the fear away from it. That's what I would like to do. I'd like to just take that fear away, because I think that when someone is already in an anxious state, in a heightened anxious state, saying that you're now going to phone the police and or for an ambulance to take you into hospital, when you hear so many awful horror stories, that's going to push them further. That's not going to calm anybody. That's going to make it worse. So it's about, trying to be prepared for the worst. Hopefully it never happens, although, there is worse than being in a hospital, I know. But do you understand what I'm saying? It's like trying to be prepared for every eventuality so that we know what to do in case of an emergency. And another thing it talks about in there is communication. We have had to relearn how to communicate with each other, because he's not always verbal. He's not always able to express and tell me what's going on. And there's a language difference for him and for me, because he's not always able to put everything into words. So, for example, I'll say to him, I'll ask him to do something like, I don't know, load the dishwasher, something, small menial task. But he will not be in a place where he's able to do that mentally. But rather than saying, Mum, I can't, or this is how he used to be, Mum, I can't do that, I can't do it, I'm not in a place, can I do that in a little while, or can you help me, or, whatever it is that he needs. What he did was he kind of got himself wound up, and then he'd say things to me like, you don't know how close I am to the edge. You don't know how hard it is for me to keep living at this moment in time, and you're trying to make me do something that I can't do. So he was in a heightened state of anxiety, and that, I'm not going to lie, frightened the bejesus out of me. It absolutely scared the living daylights out of me, because I've done suicide watch with him. I've had to watch what he's doing, who he's talking to, where he's going, what he's taking, hide anything that could cause him any harm. I've had to do all of that. And, I used to sit outside his room crying and just listening to him breathing, because then I knew he was asleep, and I knew that while he was asleep, he couldn't hurt himself. And that's just awful. As a mum, that is just such an awful thing to have to go through, right? And I don't want a repeat of that. However, when I spoke to Travis and I said to him, that really frightens me when you say that. When you say that to me in future, what that's going to mean to me is I need to phone for an ambulance because I am not able to cope with what this means. I do not have the know-how to deal with this. I'm not able to deal with this. I can't keep you safe. If this is how you're feeling, I can't keep you safe. So I am going to have to call in reinforcements. And for Travis, that's not what it meant at all. Even though he was it was like the only way to vocalise that this was overwhelming and too much and that I needed to back off. He didn't understand how to communicate with me how it was he was actually feeling. So we sat together and we worked out a new way of talking to each other. So that's kind of what sort of things are in the book. But then it's not just about our person, it's also about us, about, what we do for self-care. For me, it's dancing. My dancing is it's like everything. It's the everything that helps me to have a bit of respite. I go out, I go to my club, and the people there are so kind and so lovely. And, I dance for a couple of hours. And for those couple of hours, I can't think of anything else. There is nothing else going on in my mind. I don't have to worry about Travis because he is absolutely fine for a couple of hours on his own in the evening. So that's all good. So I go, I have my fun, I come back, and then it's business as usual. If I didn't have my dancing, well, I don't know what sort of state I'd be in. My mental health would suffer if I didn't have that. And I can't allow myself to be in a place where my mental health suffers, because if I'm not on my A game, I can't take care of my loved one. I can't take care of Travis. If I'm not okay, I cannot take care of him. And I will not allow myself to be in a position where I can't take care of him. That's not going to happen. So I do everything I can to look after myself. I do healing on myself. I work through lots of different things so that I can be a part of his solution, not part of the problem. Because if we want our people to heal, we need to heal. We need to be the best versions of ourselves to help them. If we're not the best versions of ourselves, we're no use. And if we burn out because we're not looking after ourselves, again, we're no use. So we talk about self-care, what that looks like to us. It could be, it's different for everybody. It could just be having a cup of tea in the morning before the rest of the house wakes up, just where you're just on your own and you can just breathe for a bit, Or it could be gardening, or it could be going down to an allotment, or it could be, working for a charity or volunteering. It could be anything that allows you to be you for a bit and not carer or mum or dad or wife or husband, or it allows you to just be you. It's just for you. And then we talk about boundaries. Boundaries are super, super important, because if you don't have boundaries in place, there's a danger that people will run roughshod over you. They won't take your emotions or your needs into consideration. And it's incredibly important that you communicate your boundaries to your person, because it's not just about them having boundaries, about me not being able to pressure Travis into loading or unloading the dishwasher. It's also about what he can't do to me. That's not acceptable. I do not accept any sort of violence. I do not accept any sort of disrespect, because I am here doing my best for him, and he knows that. So I don't really need to, be really strict with them, because there's no need to. But he knows those boundaries are there, and it's important that you have those in place with your person. Your person may be really frightened, And when people are frightened, they take it out on those that are closest to them. And they can sometimes be in pain and not really vocalizing that they're in pain. So they become nasty or bitter because they can't do what they used to be able to do. And we have to really, really try hard to not take that personally. But we also need to, for our own sanity and for our own self respect and self worth, put those boundaries in place. It's not acceptable for you to speak to me this way. If you speak to me this way, I'm walking away and you will have to do this on your own. If that's what you want, then that's fine. We have to be quite strict with that. And I know that doesn't work for everybody, like the whole walking away thing, because sometimes you can't because it's not safe. But it's about what the boundaries look like for you. It's not about what I put in place for me, it's about what works for you. So it's really important to have those things in place. So we talk about those. So that's really the journal in its entirety. There's lots more to it than that. There's things like how to prepare for medical reviews, for medicine reviews, and treatments, and terms to Google, so that you can look outside the box. Think outside the box. Don't just think the NHS can help you. Think about other therapies that might be out there that could be really useful that aren't on the NHS. I mean, I used to, unrelated to what goes on with Travis, I used to have a really bad back. And when I went through the NHS, they sent me for physio, and then they sent me to a seminar that told me that I would suffer with bad back for the rest of my life and I needed to just learn how to live with it. I wasn't accepting that. So I went and I paid to go and see a chiropractor, who are not available on the NHS. You can't get chiropractor on the NHS. Osteopath you can, but not chiropractor. So I went and saw a chiropractor who snapped me back into place like I was one of them glow sticks. And not only did it take away my back pain, it stopped me from getting headaches for probably about 5 or 6 years. I mean, that's amazing. Why that's not available on the NHS, I don't know, because it would save them an absolute fortune in drugs and stuff. I don't really understand, but that's a different conversation. But yeah, so think outside the box when you're thinking of treatments for your person. Don't just take what the NHS give you and live with that. Explore, have a look. Well, it doesn't cost anything to have a look, does it? And if you can't find anything, then fine. That's the way it is. But maybe there is something out there. Maybe there is something that's holistic that might be able to assist you. Who knows? Unless you look, you're never going to know, are you? So like I say, I talk about lots of different things to do with myself and Travis in the book, and about what we've been through, in the hope that it might help somebody out there to find a bit of peace and find a new way of working together and becoming a really strong team. Travis and I are incredibly strong. One of the beautiful things that have come out of this whole debacle is the fact that we can work together. He can tell me almost anything. Now, he doesn't tell me everything. There is a lot of stuff I don't know about, but he can tell me lots of things. And he knows that I will always do my best to firstly try and understand, and secondly to find him the help that he needs and to help him feel better. I will do anything to help him feel better and to become who he should be. So I really hope that this is going to help you if you're a carer, or if you know someone that is a carer. If you don't mind recommending my book, that would be absolutely amazing. Or even show them this video, because maybe there's some stuff in this video that might help them. But I will be trying to do as many little videos as I can. This is a really long one, I know. Hopefully the next ones won't be so long. I'll try and do little bite-sized bits. But this is really who I am and why I've done what I've done. By all means, come and join my group. I'll put the link to that in in the comments of this video as well. And you are more than welcome to come and join me over on Facebook on the group. You know, ask questions, provide ideas, all of that kind of stuff, really. I want to learn from you as much as I'd like you to take some stuff away from, you know, what I can share. So I really hope you have a brilliant day, or the rest of the day, whatever it is that you're doing. And just remember that we might be the human race, but we are also humankind, right? So always choose to be kind, always. And then maybe that kindness will come back to you as well. Take care, everyone. See you later.